Hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of Future Ventures. Future Ventures is a conversation series where we deep dive in the journey of venture building. This series is brought to you by FutureLabs Ventures. We are a corporate venture studio that focuses on building new growth engines for corporates, focused on 100 million plus digital ventures. I'm Tamanna Dahiya. I'm a venture partner at FutureLabs, and it's my pleasure to be your host for this episode. Today's event is organized as part of Singapore Economic Development Board's Corporate Venture Launchpad, a 10 million pilot program designed to enable corporates to launch a new venture from Singapore within 6 months. FutureLabs Ventures is proud to be an appointed venture studio to partner corporates on concept validation sprints to help develop an idea into an investable business. In this episode, we are excited to host our corporate partner Electrolux, who went through the Corporate Venture Launchpad sprint with us, and also our ecosystem partner, key enabler, EDB New Ventures team. So let me welcome our speakers in this episode. So we are joined by Ranga Govindan. Ranga is head of business development and mergers and acquisitions for APMEA for Electrolux. And he was also the venture board member for the validation sprint that we did together.
Thank you.
Then we have Jorge Rosario, IT lead, Organization Change Management, APAC and MEA, who is also the venture associate, working with us very closely.
Thank you.
Bringing in the stakeholders as well as helping us design all the key aspects of the new venture. Finally, we have Alvin Cai, VP EDB New Ventures. Alvin is co-lead of EDB New Ventures Venture Building Unit and was also the venture board member from EDB, supporting us, guiding us, and challenging us along the way as well, bringing the validation sprint to a successful close. So while we've completed this validation sprint, we're not at liberty to mention specific details of the idea, but we want to share a bit more with our viewers the journey of undertaking the validation sprint, and also how you got the mothership behind you in taking this idea forward to validation and building it into an investable business. Right, so maybe we can start here with Ranga, with you first. And if you can share with us a little bit, how was this idea identified? And how did you get everybody sort of behind supporting this idea?
For us, it really starts with what we define as an objective for the company itself. So if you look at our communication material, what we have defined is really going after redefining consumer experiences in the products that we, in the product categories that we work in. And then how can we make these product experiences better for the consumer and help them lead a more sustainable life, right? It really starts there, and as a company we do have a practice of driving innovation to help bring better product experiences to the market, as well as driving better business models that can help us get closer to consumers. And really when we apply these lens, right, that's really what helps us identify the right opportunities to go after. As a company, we have looked at these sort of new models, new product experiences, how can we make consumer experiences better, and you know, it's an ongoing process. We look through a lot of opportunities and try and find the ones that we think have the potential to scale and be meaningful opportunities for us.
Right. And how familiar was Electrolux with the whole corporate venture building before you took this journey forward?
Like I said, we do indulge in a lot of these ideas globally. There are experiences on the product innovation side. It's a little bit more straightforward because as a company, this is what we do. So the product pipeline is really strong. With new ventures, there have been some attempts in other parts of the globe, in Europe, in some other markets as well, and what we have done is to try and leverage on those learnings as much as possible. So it's not something that's entirely new to us, but of course there are regional you know, specifics that need to be taken care of, right, in adapting any of these ideas.
Right. And maybe, Jorge, you were part of the team working very closely in getting a lot of the business stakeholders to stand behind the idea and share their inputs. How was the experience? What really helped to get their support and their sort of sponsorship for the idea as well?
Well, indeed, we conducted many interviews and alignment sessions internally from the start. We wanted to leverage on the corporate knowledge, corporate assets, and the capabilities that we already have as an organization. And from a sponsorship point of view, EDB acted as an enabler via the Corporate Venture Launchpad program, and they even embedded a venture builder from the start. And that really helped us to build momentum and learn from other experiences. And of course, we also work with FutureLabs, who has a very good experience in the venture building sector, and help us to unlock many of the challenges that we had early on in the venture sprints.
So maybe I will ask Alvin about this as well, because Alvin, you see a number of corporate partners who want to embark on this journey, and some go ahead and get it started and some are not able to. So from your vantage point, what is some of the key factors that some are able to get the support and the sponsorship to take the idea forward and some are not?
Sure. Well, I think the appetite and readiness for entrepreneurial risks at the corporate level, meaning the key sponsors, people like Ranga, who is head of business development for the region. We also had Enrique, who is also chief financial for the region. People like that and global leaders from Electrolux as well really played a significant role in driving the mandate and giving the sponsorship to the venture. So that's one part, the corporate level. But at the venture level as well, it has to have a clear, significant growth opportunity, real market differentiation that you can build, and actually a path that you can think about scaling and becoming viable in 5, 6, 7 years for the corporate to sit up and take note and decide to go into it. Right? Obviously, as a corporate venture, the part about needing to find a few advantages that you can unlock from the corporate to really significantly boost the venture is critical. So if you put all these in together, you have sort of the ripe ingredients. But the challenge is corporates don't really make decisions like entrepreneurs on the street. Not by gut feel, but actually by market validation, by the data that you can collect, and that gives conviction, right? And interesting, I've seen various corporates, Electrolux included, where when you have the conviction, corporates can move very fast. They can unlock the advantages, the resources very fast, and that's what we've seen happening with this sprint as well and this venture. So I would say those are quite critical altogether.
Thank you. So maybe if we move from the idea to actual the validation that we undertook, so maybe Ranga, as a venture board member, from your vantage point, as we started on this journey, what were some of the most critical questions in your mind that you wanted to get validated or answered in this sprint?
It really starts with what you define as the thesis, right? Is there an opportunity here? How do you validate that? First, it has to fit with what we are trying to do as a company in terms of strategy, in terms of how we see our business going forward. So first you need the strategic fit. The second thing that we are really looking to do is validate the size of the opportunity. How big is this opportunity? How scalable is it? And do we have the right capabilities to actually take this and scale it? And then the third thing that we try and evaluate is has this already been attempted internally? And therefore, if there are any learnings we have from our earlier attempts to try something like this, can we bring those learnings to bear? And therefore, what you're trying to do is really get a quick view on these three aspects to see if there is if further time needs to be spent on something like this. And that's where I think bringing in a partner like EDB and FutureLabs helps run through this validation process in an accelerated manner. We know the questions we want to answer. Having an external partner helps us run through this process a little more quickly than if we were to do this on our own. That's really what we're trying to do when we bring together a team and move this process forward.
Right. And of course, like you look after mergers and acquisitions and you're always thinking about the portfolio view of different opportunities. And in ventures as well, sort of the same portfolio level view applies. So how do you, in terms of new venture opportunities, move from one idea to looking at the portfolio of new venture ideas?
We've been trying to do this now for a while actually. So at Electrolux we have forums where we encourage our business teams to bring new ideas, something that they feel is an opportunity in the market, and therefore something that Electrolux can go after. So we have been trying to encourage a bit of calculated risk taking in the areas that are of interest to us, and in that context at these forums we encourage discussion around such ideas. If I can be more specific, one such forum is something called an innovation accelerator, where we try and crowdsource ideas from across the organization. So people can bring ideas, make a pitch, and then tell us that they need a certain amount of capital to pursue this. And then we try and sort them into different buckets based on what we think can be done today, and then maybe have a bucket on something that needs a little bit more development before it can be implemented. So we have different buckets, and then we try and execute these based on how we prioritize these ideas. So this is something that we've been quite actively working on for the past few years.
Right, and we hope to undertake some more of these validation sprints together as well. Now maybe, Jorge, coming to your experience working on a day-to-day basis in this validation sprint over a period of what was about 4 months, how was the experience different from maybe other such projects that you might be working on internally in your role?
Well, we found many similarities. First of all, it was a very data-driven and consumer-centric market research validation from the start. We adopted top-down and bottom-up approach in many of the activities that we had in the sprints. We built a prototype, we released it to some potential consumers, we got feedback, we understood the consumer journey across different product categories. So it was a very comprehensive market research validation. Where I see the difference lies is on the speed. Definitely when we saw that we had a timeline of 6 months, it looked very challenging. But working with EDB, working with FutureLabs definitely helped to build it up and make the case from the start.
Right, and I think it was also a very exciting journey because we saw such a great partnership between all the 3 teams working together, a very strong buy-in and fit with the strategic purpose of Electrolux, a lot of strong support, which helped us bring it to kind of that outcome in the right level of time as well. Right. So maybe in closing, I think we still have many of our corporate partners who are looking to undertake such validation sprints, and we have many companies, other multinational companies that have their regional headquarters here and maybe global headquarters somewhere else. So if you were to share a couple of tips from your side on how to get the global and the regional boards behind these ideas and go forward with these journeys, what would those be? So maybe we go around the table and a couple of tips from all of us, and maybe we start with you, Ranga.
Sure. I think the most important thing to reiterate is really the nature of markets that we have access to, being based in Singapore. The entire region today has some of the fastest growing markets in the world. The interesting thing is also that these markets are fairly complex. There are challenges that are unique to these markets. But what digitization is doing across the region is making it possible to solve a lot of these problems. And therefore there is an opportunity to pursue new ventures, new business models, and really solve some of the problems that are unique to this region. And I think that's really the opportunity that we must be willing to pitch to our global boards, highlight the nature of the opportunity, highlight the kind of difference in thinking that is required to go after these opportunities, and really show them that there is an opportunity out here that is worth going after. I think that really helps convince them that there is something to be pursued here with venturing.
Thank you, Ranga. Alvin, you want to go next?
Yeah. Well, I think it's always important to think big, start small, and actually be agile and give good people autonomy. Ultimately, big companies have grown over time, but their origins are there. And here we're trying to kickstart more big businesses to create multiple speedboats, multiple new growth engines, right? And you see people like Jorge and the venture team essentially taking on the role of entrepreneurs. And so at a certain point, the control and the running of the new business should be given to the venture team. And so the ability to think like an investor, to collect the market data that is needed to make an investment decision to build a new business, but also allow your founding team to build like an entrepreneur is going to be key. And the more we can do that at scale, the more repeatable it is, and the more growth engines we hope to build together.
Thank you. Jorge?
Well, I think two points will be, number one, thinking out of the box. The consumer behavior has changed significantly over the past couple of years. And this opens a lot of opportunities to new corporates to build new business models, new ventures, etc. And the other point, which is very important, and also Alvin was highlighting it, is the talent development. Having this experience of building a venture from the scratch helps a lot of the internal talent to develop new skills as well and to grow within the company, but also attract new talent to your company, attract talent that will help build and grow the new venture that you're creating.
Thank you. And I think one thing that I want to mention is that Alvin talked about this earlier, that corporates like to have some proof and data points before they would make decisions. And I do often see that when there is a case study or a case of success that you can share, that really kind of mobilizes the whole team around, oh, this is the possibility. And so I think having relevant case studies that prove the case is great. And I always tell our corporate partners and everyone, come and talk to us at FutureLabs or talk to us at EDB New Ventures to find out more relevant case studies to help make the case jointly as well. So of course, in closing, is there anything else, Jorge, you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, besides the great experience that we had building this venture, we're happy to share with you that in a few months, we will have a new proposition to our consumers that will improve the customer experience and will be focused mainly on sustainability. So stay tuned for more news in the upcoming months.
Thanks, speakers, for the great insights today. And of course, we are looking forward to the launch of this new venture in an area that we believe is not only a great growth opportunity, but also an essential new model for sustainability. We hope it to be an example for many more such ventures as well. To the viewers and listeners, if you have some questions, reach out to us at contact@futurelabs.vc. For those in Singapore who are keen to learn more about the Corporate Venture Launchpad, you can check out the link here. The link is on the screen as well as on the web page. If you're curious about embarking on corporate venturing journey, reach out to us at the email address shared. If you like the insights, do share it with your friends and colleagues, and remember to subscribe to the series by registering on the Future Ventures website so that you'll be automatically alerted for the upcoming Future Venture episodes. Thanks for tuning in, and speak again soon.